it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Saturday, April 30th. So welcome to the new moon solar eclipse day. Also, welcome to the very last day of April. So if you listen to this week's ascension forecast, you would have realized that this last week of April was jam-packed with ups and downs and zigs and zags. We've been all over the place. It has been classically, typically speaking, low and slow for many of us, more on the lower vibrational frequencies than the higher ones. Although we had some very magical days of manifestation, many of us did not rise to that occasion. Many of us very much stuck in the lower vibrations and frequencies. Yesterday, we had a big day. Pluto went retrograde. Mercury moved into its place of power in Gemini. Of course, we've been in the new moon energy. We've been in the eclipse energy. And today, we are watching that energy build when it is going to reach its most potent peak energy, 4:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have not downloaded your moon guide, I'm going to recommend you go do that. You got to do the work. This calls for shadow work. Eclipse energy especially is definitely not as stable, as pleasant as some of the normal moon energy events are. You might need a little bit of a help. You might need a little bit of a guide. That's why I spend the time to write them. Go ahead, sign up for the subscription if you need, continual assistance. If not, do a one-off, go download the moon guide. This is eclipse season, people. This is not time to mess around. It's time to get down in the nitty-gritty. It's time to do the work. So we have 8 different aspects taking place here today. 7 of them involve the moon. The moon is going to get off to a very interesting start to this solar eclipse day because we are bumping into Saturn, but this time in a positive manner. The moon in Taurus, of course, has the blinders on. We want to stick to the here and now. We don't want to look back at the past. We don't want to look at the future. We just want to look at what we have control over, what it is that we're doing. We have a reliance on kind of leaning back on what is tried, tested, and true, what is comfortable, what is familiar. And you know what? Lean all the way into that because that is the only safety, security, and stability that we are actually getting from our physical realms at this time. The moon in Taurus, high on self-love, high on recognizing where it is that we have to build new systems, routines, and structures, not only in our day-to-day life in order to promote health and wellness, self-love for ourselves, but new relationships are needing a little bit of a stronger foundation in order for them to root in. And old relationships, well, they are getting shook up in order to see where the weakest parts of our relationship dynamics are to give us a choice on whether or not we're going to continue to pour into them, try to strengthen those foundations, or whether or not we're just going to write these people out of our lives altogether. And where money matters are concerned, we are definitely concerned about the safety and the security, the self-sufficiency of our finances, of our income. All of these lessons very rooted in this Taurus season, this Taurus energy. And bumping into Saturn, the Lord of Karma, he is definitely showing us where it is that we have to get very, very serious. Not only a grip on our emotional plane, on our mental plane, but where we have to get very serious in actually doing something about it in the here and now, in our present day. Saturn, as you know, is in Aquarius energy, has us focused on what it is that we want to create in our lives, the futuristic goal, dream, vision that we actually want to manifest. But you can't just sit around praying. You actually have to do something about it. Manifestation requires you to align with a vision and a dream, to back it up with an emotion, and then to do the work in the physical realm in order to align with that possibility to actually come into fruition. So Saturn is here saying, okay, you got some work to do. You want all of these new dynamics, all of these new circumstances to change in your life, but you haven't lifted a damn finger in the run of your day in order to do anything to get rid of the old, to clear the space out for the new. What are you doing? This is new karmic contracts. This is new roles and responsibilities that we have to boss up and actually embody and embrace before we're ever going to be the individuals that we need to be in order to actually receive the blessings and the rewards that we've been praying for. You know, the Saturn energy, like I continue to say, is kind of like the military grandfather, right? Tough love life lessons. And Lord Jesus knows we've had enough tough love life lessons at this point that we should be at the point where we're able to boss up and take control over the elements that we actually have control over in our physical realms. But as we've been exploring, many of us have to learn the hard way. We have to have our back against the wall. We have to have our realities absolutely shook up and broke down, busted down into pieces before any of us are actually willing to do something about it. The moon is going to semi-square Neptune. This is not a good aspect. Why? Because a semi-square creates a tension, a disconnect. What are we disconnecting from? Well, our emotions versus our soul self, our higher self. Neptune is the energy that we tap into to remind ourselves that the dream and the vision that we have for ourselves is 100% possible. But when we have a disconnect, we have to rely on our physical realms. And as we've been exploring, our physical realms aren't dictating anything close to the possibilities of our future dream and vision manifesting the way that our heart and soul knows that it has the possibility to. So we're definitely getting down. We're in the dark phase of the moon. This is when the ugly parts come out to play. That's why I write the moon guide, so that you can do the shadow work. When these ugly parts of you emerge and show their face, this is the guide, the inner compass that you need to realize, oh, okay, this is trying to tell me that this is where my attention is needed. Oh, this is where the next wound needs the most healing. There is a recipe. There is a plan. There is an instructional guide. And especially under eclipse energy, where we don't have the power to manifest the way that we would like, we don't have the ability to have the power and control over the details on what it is that's currently going on in our realms, it would be really nice to hold on to whatever we actually do have control over. And taking control over doing the shadow work is your best possible game as of right now. We go to when the moon conjuncts the sun. When the moon and the sun are sitting next to each other, that is what gives us our new moon. This is taking place again at 4:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is when we have the peak energy. Are you going to feel good around this time of day? Probably not. Are you going to feel weepy and low and slow and on the couch and likely eating everything in your cupboards in your fridge? Likely. Are you going to feel unsure, unstable, restless, anxiety, just overwhelmed with all kinds of things, but yet you don't have the physical energy to do anything about it? Probably. That is what this energy is all about. And shortly after the new moon energy peaks, we have Venus and Jupiter coming together, conjunct. We have Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and worth and pleasure and happiness and joy. We have Jupiter, who wants to magnify whatever it is that we need to be magnified to in order to show us where it is that the life lessons are pushing us outside of our comfort zone to grow. Both of them in Piscean energy, very intuitive, very emotional, very overwhelmed if you're not sure on how to manage your energy. And right now, this particular aspect is really turning the volume all the way up on what it is that we want more of. We want more love. We want more peace. We want more harmony. We want more connection. We want more intimacy. We want more money. We want more stability. We want more of all the good things that we currently don't have. Now, caution. This is a great, great energy for us to get some insight, get very clear on what it is that we need to be working towards, cultivating, creating in our lives in order to check off all of the boxes of all the more that we actually want. But the caution here is we can get ourselves into a mentality of scarcity. Recognizing that you want more stability shows you where stability is not existent in your life. Wanting more peace shows you where there is chaos. Wanting more love shows you where there is none. Wanting more money shows you where you are lacking, right? So every single time that we create a beautiful list of all the things we want more of, that is supposed to be inspirational. It's supposed to be motivating. It's supposed to just fill you up with a vibe that makes you happy to envision what it would be like to have all of these boxes checked off. So work very hard to stay in that vibration, because the dark force energy is out to get you. It's out to get all of us. We are in a very high, potent vibration, which means that the dark force agenda comes out to play, and they are not messing around, because they do not want us moving forward. They do not want us enlightening ourselves. They do not want us growing. And what they're going to do is they're going to turn the volume all the way up to have us stuck in scarcity. Oh, woe is me, crying over the fact that we don't have love, we don't have the money, we don't have the foundation, we don't have the stability, we don't have the peace. You see where I'm going with this? We have a choice, and it's going to be up to us to be very diligent in our mental plane, in our heart space, to keep the balance, to keep the list of the more going, because that's what we need to be working towards. But don't let the list of what it is that you're currently lacking bring your vibration down. That's not how we manifest. And this eclipse energy is a wild card energy. We have to make sure that our vibration is high, that we are highly focused, we are in tune with what it is that we want to invite into our realms, instead of inviting in all of this scarcity, all of these situations that are going to create more instability, lack of love, lack of peace, lack of harmony. We don't want to focus on that. We don't want to be in that vibration. We need to be in the vibration of hope and love and peace and harmony, all the things that we want more of. We have to stay in that vibration if the universe is going to deliver us situations of that vibration, of that outcome, of that frequency. The moon is going to sextile Mars. Now, Mars, of course, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion. You will notice in the moon guide, if you download it, that there are a lot of different aspects taking place under this new moon eclipse energy. Mars, of course, is providing us with a lot of psychic insight, a lot of inspiration, a lot of dreams, a lot of also kind of frustration, because we're not able to act upon it. We can just dream it up and live in our la la land right now. We're not actually able to do anything to manifest these particular situations and scenarios in our physical realm. But what we do know to be true is that the moon in Taurus sextiling with Mars and Pisces is a huge, huge, huge opportunity for us to channel in the boldness, the bravery, the courage that we need, the tenacity, the passion, the desire that we need in the here and now, in our physical circumstances, to remind us of what it is that we're fighting for, what it is that we want to move closer to. This is going to be a huge shift. This is going to be a huge release as well, because for the first part of the day, building up to that exact potent new moon energy, we're definitely feeling down. This is where things start to change. This is where we get a little bit of a pick-me-up. But as I've been discussing, as we've been exploring, every single time that we are gifted with an opportunity to level up, those dark force energies come out to play in order to keep us down. This is the point in time in the evening when the moon is going to semi-square both Jupiter and Venus, both in Pisces. Now here's the thing. The moon in Taurus, who has the blinders on, who doesn't really want to focus on the future, doesn't really want to focus on the past, wants to stick in this present moment, grasping at straws to feel safe, to feel loved, to feel secure, to feel grounded. This is a problem because we just got this huge amount of inspiration, of passion, of desire coming from Mars. We finally get a glimpse of the vibration, the frequency that we need to embody in order to charge forward. Well, here's where Jupiter shines the bright light, magnifies all of the reasons of why our egoic self, who's very stuck in this physical realm and dependent on these physical circumstances, why we're about to start ripping our dream apart, why it is that we're going to speak fear and doubt and insecurities into the great big dream, the great big vision that we just felt really good about. Then Venus comes in. The semi-square applies tension. Venus, of course, about, love and relationships and money and self-worth. Now she is picking herself apart. We have to remember that Venus is the ruler over this new moon energy. And she is in a very powerful placement in Pisces. She likes being there, but we tend to lose ourselves in la la land. We tend to lose ourselves in the romantic version of how our quote unquote shitty circumstances are going to play out. And at this particular point in time, because the moon in Taurus has the blinders on and just wants to kind of curl up on the couch and lose oneself eating snacks and watching rom-coms, Venus at this point, she is tapping into the darker side, the shadow side of the Piscean energy, which is victim mentality, which is escapism, which is wanting to numb, wanting to delude oneself from the reality, the truth of what's currently going on. And this is going to speak a lot of fear into our vibration and into our frequency. To make matters even harder, we're going to wrap the day up with the moon bumping into Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. He shows us, because he's in Aries, he shows us our ego identity wounds, because this Tauran energy is focused on this materialistic realm, the labels that we have, right? So the relationships that we're in, the jobs that we have, the materialistic possessions that we've earned that we equate to some kind of success. Now we are being rocked because our attachments to this physical realm, to certain people, places, and things, are causing the blocks in the path that we are meant to move forward on. Many of us blocking our blessings. Why? Well, the other day I used the furniture analogy, right? And a lot of people said that that made a lot of sense. Many people sitting around with the old crap in their houses. They've ordered new furniture. The truck pulls up with the new furniture. They got nowhere to put it because they are not at the point where they've cleared the old out yet. Many people wait for the new to show up before they do the work to clear the old out, not realizing that the universe depends on you to do the work, the tough love, life lesson work, to clear out the junk of the past, to cut the cords with the old life lessons, to create a space for the new elements to show up in. Okay? So I'm going to throw this analogy at you again because this is very, very indicative of what it is that we're currently struggling with. Many of us in our inner realms are creating these dreams, creating these visions, creating these goals that we know right now could never fit into our physical realm, into our physical circumstances. But instead of actually doing what we should be doing in our physical realms to clean up the mess of the past, to cut the cords with the contracts that we know have run their course, we're just sitting around waiting for the assurity, the positive validation, the positive assurity that the universe is going to deliver that furniture before we dare get rid of the old crap that we've been living in and living on. That is not how the universe works. We have to be bold and brave enough to sleep on the floor, to sit on the floor, awaiting, trusting that that universal trailer will back itself into your driveway and unload the beautiful furnishings that you have ordered, that you have prayed for, that you have envisioned in your mind. Take the risk, clean the space out, clean the slate, create an opportunity for new elements to arrive. Trust that they will arrive, because sitting around and waiting for them to show up before you do anything about your current reality is blocking your prayers, blocking your blessings, and really creating a tougher life lesson for you than there needs to be.